the Auditor General and financial statements of Kerio Valley Technical and Vocational College for the year ended 30th June 2021 and the certificate therein. Number 2, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the years ended 30th June 2022 and the certificates therein in respect of the following: Laikipia North Technical and Vocational College and the Kerio Valley Technical and Vocational College. Number 3, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2023 and the certificates therein in respect of the following: Navoholo Technical and Vocational College, Kerio Valley Technical and Vocational College, Mumias West Technical and Vocational College, Laikipia North Technical and Vocational College, North Hor Technical and Vocational College, Laisamis Technical Training Institute, and Webuye West Technical and Vocational College. Number 4, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements of Cherangani Technical and Vocational College for the years ended 30th June 2022, 30th June 2023, and 30th June 2024, and the certificates therein. Number 5, finally, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the years ended 30th June 2023 and 30th June 2024, and the certificates therein in respect of number 1, Kaloleni Technical and Vocational College, number 2, Tana River Technical and Vocational College, and number 3, Kitelakape Technical Training Institute. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable Joseph Gashoki, MP Kirinyaga Central, you have a statement or you're seeking a response by the Trade and Industry and Cooperatives Committee. The chairperson is not here. Honorable Keitang, your chairperson was supposed to give a report, respond to a statement.
Sorry, we are not ready with the statement. Maybe in the next meeting.
Okay, and then there is also the statement by Honorable Majimbo Kalasinga, member for Kapuchai. Who's responding to it? Again, Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Actually, all of them are Trade, Industry and Cooperatives Committee. Okay, proceed. So are you ready with the first one? On the management of Shirikisho la Wanawake Savings and Credit Cooperative Society?
Yes, I am.
Okay, proceed. Okay, but Honorable Joseph Gashoki is not there, so we'll skip his. Honorable Majimbo Kalasinga, is he present? Okay, so you can proceed with that one, the second one. We'll skip the one of Honorable Gashoki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity to respond to a request of a statement by Honorable Majimbo Kalasinga, MP, Member of Parliament of Kapichai constituency. Honorable Speaker, Nakayonjo Farmers Cooperative Society Limited is a coffee marketing cooperative society and not a savings and credit cooperative society, SACCO. Nakoyonjo AFC Limited was registered in 1958 and is situated in Makuyuni Ward, Kapuchai Sub-County of Bungoma County. The cooperative has about 3,382 active members. Average production for the cooperative is 800,000 kgs of coffee. Honorable Speaker, on the theft of 25.5 million, on 1st March 2022, Nokoyonjo Farmers Cooperative Society Limited withdrew Kenya shillings 25 million 500,000 from Cooperative Bank Bungoma branch. The money was meant for payment of coffee farmers, 2,892 for their 1,857 kgs of coffee, of which was divided 24,021,425 and salaries and wages, Kenya shillings 478,575. The money was transported to Bungoma Union's Ushirika Bank Kimilili branch, accompanied by 2 policemen and cooperative officials. On arrival at the Ushirika branch, robbers attacked them and stole the money, injuring the 2 policemen. It is noted that by then, the farmers' cooperative had no digital payment system. It is also noted that the cooperative did not have a cash on transit insurance cover. The matter was taken over by investigative agencies who have not released their report to date. Statement on specific questions by Honorable Majimbo Kalasinga, MP Kapuchai constituency. He wanted a report on the guidelines on large withdrawals and financial security measures for SACCOs and the reasons why the management of Nakoyonjo SACCO Society withdrew Kenya shillings 25 million in cash at once instead of using electronic funds transfer or withdrawing the money in cash in small amounts for security reasons. Honorable Speaker, the general policy on cash handling applies in all cooperatives in Kenya. These include cash on transit insurance covers, armed escort, availability of storage rooms, handling of storage room, password and keys, handling of system passwords, theft by staff covers, physical security where money will be stored as it's being dispensed, CCTV cameras, panic alarms, amongst others. The amount of money transported from the bank to the cooperative premises would normally be dictated by the limit given by the insurance cover. In this case, no insurance cover was in place, and therefore, officials were negligent in the way they handled this matter. The second question, the honorable member wants to know circumstances surrounding the theft of Kenya shillings 25 million at the entrance of Ushirika Bank. the status of investigations into the incident and steps being taken to recover the stolen funds and to hold the culprits accountable. Honorable Speaker, the circumstances surrounding the theft of Kenya shillings 25 million will be established once the Directorate of Criminal Investigation releases its report. Thirdly, the Honorable Member wants clarification on whether cooperative societies are required to have insurance cover against theft, fraud, and other financial risks. Whether Nyakoyonjo Sacco Society was insured and that the stolen funds be indemnified. Honorable Speaker, cooperative society officials are required to put in place all preventive measures to mitigate loss of members' funds and other properties. These include various classes of insurance, physical security in terms of watchmen, CCTV cameras, strong rooms, cash boxes, panic alarms, amongst others. It has been established that Nokoyonjo did not have such an insurance cover, which was negligent to the part of the cooperative officials. The lack of insurance cover exposes the farmers to total loss of their money. Thank you.
You have another statement also to respond to. Is Honorable Mary Maingi present? Okay, she's not present, so we'll skip that. Right, you can move to the next order. Yes? You want to respond? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have diligently listened to the chair giving us the report of 25 million shillings stolen, Madam Speaker, from the poor farmers of Nakoyonjo Coffee Factory. And Madam Speaker, the question is totally unsatisfactory. The statement, unsatisfactory. Because, Madam Speaker, 25 million shillings were not stolen from the farmers of Nakoyonjo. The Ushirika Bank, Madam Speaker, withdrew that money without police. They are lying. Madam Speaker, they carried the money to their office, not the farmers, from Bungoma Co Bank to Kimilili Ushirika Bank, their office. Reaching their office, Madam Speaker, as they put the money on the floor, the robbers come in and take the money. Madam Speaker, that is the case. Now, when they carried the money from the floor, no one was injured, Madam Speaker. 25 million. Madam Speaker, that huge amount of money, 25 million, is not worth to use 2 officers. You are not using any vehicle, a private vehicle, Madam Speaker. Finally, Madam Speaker, I want to plead with you. I want to plead with you, Madam Speaker, that the question says, up to now, the DCI, that is statement number 2, Mr. Speaker. The answer from the that the DCI have not reported, have not given a report up to now. Madam Speaker, in 2022, that was 1st of March 2022. The year 2022, Madam Speaker, we had 307 days. 2023, Madam Speaker, 365 days. 2024, 366 days, Madam Speaker. And this year, Madam Speaker, 2025, 165 days, a total of 1,203 days. No response from the DCI. Madam Speaker, up to now, if there's no response from the DCI, I would humbly ask you to use your discretion on this House, Madam Speaker, to ask the DCI to release the report on this investigation. They are quiet, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it bleeds. One Johnny Kubei, a poor farmer, number 1,005, 620 kilos lost. Jackson Naibei, a farmer with a peasant, number 350, 870 kilos lost, Madam Speaker, Evelyn Nasimiu. 2244, 825 kilos. These are poor farmers. The farmers who are at the bottom of the pyramid to be lifted. Madam Chair, the chairman has given an answer very unsatisfactory. And finally, the last page, Madam Speaker, where they say Nakoyonjo had some negligence. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, Nakoyonjo is a coffee factory. The custody of the money was not with them. They did not need to have CCTV in Nakoyonjo factory to work in Kimilili. It is unacceptable, Madam Speaker. I don't agree with this. Madam Speaker, this thing is nonsense. They must go back and bring us a right report for the people of Nakoyonjo, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam.
I think, Honorable Chairperson, you might have to summon the DCI to your committee.
Yes. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether this, first of all, is parliamentary to say the report is nonsense. And number two, I want to agree with the member that the report from the DCI has delayed so much. It's unfair. It should have been here. It should have been given a long time ago. It's unfair to the farmers. Madam Speaker, I'll indulge you that you direct that the DCI appears before the committee, and I would like the member, when the DCI appears, to come also, so that we interrogate the DCI to why this report has taken too long.
Yeah, that's why I've directed that your committee should summon the DCI. Thank you. Yes, Honorable Owino. Mm-hmm.
Madam Speaker, this is a house of traditions.
Madam Speaker, it's hijacked by... A point of order, Madam Speaker. I think the chance was mine, Honorable Member.
Honorable Kainan, I was giving an opportunity to Honorable Owino.
Yeah.
Yes. I had not given you the floor.
Thank you. How could you let me go ahead? Mine is short, Madam Speaker. I'm just wondering, because I represent farmers just like my friend Kalasinga. When a question or statement is required from chairman, and they read as it is given to them, is it really fair, the process? That's number one. Number two, farmers go through a lot of issues and a lot of difficult time. When it is time to pay them, is it in order to wait for reports? They don't need reports. They have kids to go to school. Life is very difficult for them. What they needed is money. So if we are being told that the bank did not have insurance, and the circumstances which Kalasinga was seeking for, is that the DCI is doing the investigation. As a house, really, such kind of answers, do we entertain them? And it's now 2 years. So what I'm asking, Madam Speaker, sometimes we have to look at the process through which we are pushing things. I don't think chairman reporting directly from ministry is really satisfying the House. Maybe we need to turn this into questions, and we appear when we ask those statements to be there, so that we can deal with them on site. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, and Honorable Kalasinga, you could also start a legal action against the bank under a civil suit for recovery. All right, let's proceed. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Consideration of nominees to 10 National Government Constituencies Development Fund committees.
We know we've already finished that topic. Okay, I'll hear your point of order. What is it?
Madam Speaker, I also sought a number of statements, and yet I can see the chairman water here. I sought a statement about 2 months ago. I don't see it listed here. I also sought a statement from the chairman transport. I'm yet to see a response. But before then, Madam Speaker, this is the House of Records. You have heard Honorable Kalasinga use the word nonsense. For the sake of the records of this House, it is also my good friend. I think you can recant, you can withdraw, because I think as much as you don't agree with the statement, the word nonsense is unparliamentary.
Yes, Honorable Kalasinga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Michael West Dictionary of the word, something that does not make sense, Madam Speaker, is called nonsense. So, Madam Speaker, I meant that this report does not make sense to the people of Nakoyonjo. So when it doesn't make sense, Madam Speaker, it is nonsense. And you can go even to the English dictionary, the current fashion. The word that does something that does not make sense or real sense is called nonsense. So it is or no sense, Madam Speaker. So I'm not willing to apologize because this report does not make sense to the people of Nakoyonjo Koi Factory, Madam Speaker.
Okay, let's close that debate. Let's move to the next order. Yes, Chairperson Bota, you want to respond to Honorable Kainan? Okay.
Madam Speaker, I'd followed the question from the Honorable Kainan last week, and Madam Speaker, there is a water conference which is ongoing in Mombasa now, and I spoke with the CS Water, who is also there, Madam Speaker, and I want to promise the Honorable Member that probably next week, if he will still be around, if he will not be broken for recess, I will bring an answer.
You know, Honorable Kangogba, even if the minister is at a conference, he's not the one who does the reports. He has officers and technical officers in his office who can do that. So that can't be an excuse. All right, let's proceed. We're on order number 8. Okay, so we go to NGCDF chairperson. Proceed, Honorable Sigma.
Madam Speaker, I wish to move that pursuant to the provision of Section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act Cap 414A and paragraph 5, 2 and 10 of National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulation, this House approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 10 constituencies committee of the National Government Constituency Development Fund laid on the table of the House on the 24th June 2025. Mr. Speaker, Balambala constituency, Bomet Central constituency, Isiolo North constituency, Kisumu East constituency, Laisamis constituency, Makueni constituency, Madare constituency, Sabatia constituency, Saku constituency, and Bamachoge constituency. Madam Speaker, I want to confirm that already with these numbers of 10 which have been put in play, which I'm moving today, gives us a total of 288 constituencies which have been presented and approved by this House. Of course, the 10 which have not yet been approved as yet, but 231 constituencies have been gazetted by the Attorney General, Madam Speaker. Also, I want to urge the Member of Parliament for Kuria West and Isiolo South to bring those names so that we complete the list of all the CDFCs in the various constituencies. Madam Speaker, this is a very important part of the CDF Act, where the CDFC do act based on their gazettement. They cannot act in any way apart from being gazetted. Otherwise, they are illegal entities as they are. Madam Speaker, I beg to move and ask Honorable Kasim Tandaza to second.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As read by our chairman, the committees are the ones who run the NGCDF kitty, contrary to what most people believe, that it is the members of parliament who run this. This is as per the act and as the necessary regulations. It is therefore important that the committees are in place, given that the previous committee's mandate expired. We've had interesting situations in some constituencies where, knowing that the former members are not going to be renewed, then they start sabotaging the activities of the NGCDF in terms of issues of bursaries and projects. And some even tend to do illegal withdrawals and transactions, knowing that they will soon not be in the office. For that matter, it is so important that we have these committees in place, and I therefore second. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
What is your point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am seeking a clarification from the chair which Bomachoge constituency he was referring to, because he just said Bomachoge.
Bamachoge Chache constituency.
Honorable members, I propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Section 43(4) of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Act, Cap 114A, and paragraphs 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulations, this House approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 10 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 24th June, 2025. The constituencies are as set out in the order paper. Yes. Okay. Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, Cap 414A, and paragraphs 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulations, this House approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 10 constituencies committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 24th June 2025, and the list is as set out in the order paper. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Number 9, the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill, National Assembly Bill number 15 of 2025. Resumption of debate.
Okay. Yes, so Honorable Chematia Sergon was on the floor. She still had another 5 minutes. Is she here? No interest. You know, Honorable Pukose, you're getting into the habit of when I'm conducting the House from here, you're busy. Yeah, yes, no, you've been doing that. You did that yesterday. Yes. So what you do, just be quiet unless I give you the floor. Yes. Yeah. Any members who want to contribute to this can put the intervention button. Press the intervention button. I can see Honorable Sir George Murugara. Did you want to respond to this? Honorable Murugara, did you want to respond to say anything? Okay. I see nobody on the intervention button. Yeah, so I'll allow the mover to reply. She was just here. Let's see. Yes. Oh, yes. Honorable Murugara, you may reply on behalf of the Leader of Majority.
Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank every member who made a contribution to this bill, the Virtual Asset Service Provider Bill, which is in respect of service providers when it comes to virtual assets, and we all know what virtual assets are in modern day economy. The debate was lively. I think we've made it clear now how you can actually become a service provider when it comes to these virtual assets. This is a law that is going to be very helpful when it comes to matters dealing with virtual assets in the country. Just like the rest of the world, Kenya must move forward and recognize the fact that there is a lot to be done when it comes to virtual assets. With those remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill, National Assembly Bill number 15 of 2025, be read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the legal framework to license and regulate the activities of virtual asset service providers and for connected purposes. Order number 10, motion, ratification of the agreement establishing the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development.
He's not here. Okay, the chairperson for the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning doesn't seem to be here. So I think we'll skip that, isn't it? Because the chairperson is not here unless he's designated someone else. Okay, we shall defer it, and then let's move to the next order, please.
Order number 11, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2025, second reading.
Mover of the bill. Who's the mover of the bill? Okay, you may proceed, Honorable Amolo.
Okay. If it is. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to move the bill as per the order paper, and in so doing, I want to say the following. Madam Speaker, first of all, this bill is one that has seen contributions for the last 4 months. As per the Constitution, a bill to amend the Constitution and as per our standing orders cannot...
Honorable Omolo Otiende, could you just move it first as is on the order paper?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to move... I don't have the order paper. Could I get a copy of the order paper? Yeah. Get for me the order paper.
Give him the order paper.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to move that the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2025, be read a second time. Madam Speaker, as the members know, this bill has been with us for the last 4 months, and it has undergone immense public participation, immense contribution by the members, because of its importance. It is our hope, and it is my hope, Madam Speaker, as the mover, that this then will actually constitute the first amendment to the Constitution in the last 15 years. Madam Speaker, in terms of public participation, and as I mentioned in this House, this bill has seen the greatest public participation in terms of any bill or in terms of any amendment in the last 15 years. And a total of 224,000 persons contributed to this bill. Madam Speaker, in terms of support, this bill obtained the highest amount of support at 98.5%. And we realized that even the 1.5% who may not have supported it actually did not support it out of ignorance. They thought the question was whether CDF should be taken away, and so some answered no. So in answering no, they thought they were supporting the bill, yet it constituted an opposition. But 98.5% supported it. Indeed, Madam Speaker, in terms of if it was to go to referendum, we are persuaded that this bill would receive overwhelming support. But we have not found it necessary to take it to referendum. First, because under Article 255, it is not necessary to take it to referendum. But secondly, the cost of referendum is one that we may not need to incur unnecessarily on such a matter. Madam Speaker, this bill seeks to constitutionalize the issue of CDF. Almost everyone has always supported CDF, but there are those who have sought to challenge it based on the Constitution. We seek to remedy that by putting it in the Constitution itself, so that it's beyond the constitutional question. Under Article 2.3, once we do that, then it will be beyond challenge. Because no one opposes the idea of the CDF. They have been opposed to the role of the members of parliament. They have been opposed to certain functions that have been included in the CDF Act. Madam Speaker, it is important to understand that under the preamble to our Constitution, we as the people have the sovereign and inalienable right to determine the form of governance that we desire. That form of governance is as captured in the Constitution, but it is also as we may desire and amend the Constitution from time to time. We believe that it is time to entrench the idea of CDF in the Constitution. A Constitution is not the Bible, as summarized in the 10 Commandments. A Constitution is a working document that can be adjusted, it can be changed as the people may desire. Constitutional edits are therefore movable and can be added to or removed. This amendment is essentially a minimalist amendment entrenched in terms of Article 204, which in our opinion is the best place we can place this one. It entrenches the three funds as captured in the document. And for the avoidance of doubt, two things. One, it only relates to matters which are within the exclusive jurisdiction and functions of national government, not any of the functions of the counties. And secondly, it is restricted to monies appropriated for the national government share of revenue as per the Division of Revenue Act. Those who think and those who say that we should abolish CDF and take it to the counties ought to know that even if we abolish CDF, these monies will not go to the county at all, and they will not do those county functions. This bill avoids the complaints that have commonly arisen, and there are three. One, that it might affect county allocations. It does not. 2, it gives no role for a member of parliament on the face of it. Thirdly, it does not affect the doctrine of separation of powers. And let me speak to the idea of separation of powers. Separation of powers in the Constitution is mentioned only thrice in the context of devolution. Separation of powers is a constitutional principle. It is necessary, but it is not absolute. You can adjust it as the country may desire. And in our constitutional design, we have adjusted it in two fundamental ways. One, in the traditional doctrine of separation of powers, the executive holds the purse and the sword. In our constitutional design, we have moved the purse to parliament. It is parliament that determines the allocations in terms of the budget. That is an adjustment of the doctrine of separation of powers. 2, the judiciary is supposed to be mandated to interpret the constitution and the laws. But in our case, we have created a judiciary fund which would not accord with the traditional doctrine of separation of powers. Because in our unique situation, it was necessary that we protect the judiciary in terms of funding. But we have even gone further. We have created constitutional commissions and independent offices that do not fit within any of the 3 traditional arms of government. So all those who usually come and sing separation of powers in respect of CDF should be able to tell us, how does these 3 things accord to separation of powers? Separation of powers is a doctrine that was considered hundreds of years ago and cannot tie our hands in this day and age if it is necessary. But of great importance is that the idea of CDF as provided for in this bill does not offend separation of powers. Madam Speaker, it is also important to understand devolution versus decentralization. There are those who think that because we have devolution, any decentralized funds are then unconstitutional because they are affecting devolution. That is not so. A keen reading of Article 6 and Article 10 requires that even those functions given to national government need to be decentralized. And that's why we have decentralized funds in terms of roads. We have decentralized funds in terms of women, enterprise, youth, and Uwezo. And therefore, and no one has ever challenged any of those decentralized funds, there can be no challenge to decentralization in terms of CDF as long as it is within the function of national government as provided in this bill. Madam Speaker, there's a common misconception by some governors in the thinking that if you kill CDF, then you will get more funds to the counties and therefore they will have more funds to use. I do not want to speak to what governors do with their funds for now. But I want them to understand that even if you did not have CDF, these funds will not go to counties. They will remain at the national government level. And if they remain at the national government level, we will be going back to where we were decades ago, where for any member of parliament to even enable construction of a toilet in a school, you will have to seek the appointment with the president and tell him, Mr. President, I need 400,000 to construct a toilet in Chianda Primary. For all the members of parliament who are here, that will not be possible. And that will be taking us to the centralization of power that we are trying to avoid. But of greater importance, even if this money were to be given to the counties, it should be understood that it will not be used for the purposes for which CDF is currently in use. Counties are restricted to ECDs in terms of education and village polytechnics.
Counties cannot have the authority to construct any classroom, any dormitory, any laboratory, or even any fencing anywhere. So anyone opposing this should think that who then will have that responsibility of helping our primary schools, our secondary schools, our universities? It should be understood that the bursaries that we are currently providing for within CDF will not be given by the counties. Counties cannot give bursaries beyond ECD and village polytechnics. And in fact, as we speak, there's a High Court order stopping counties from issuing any such bursaries. It should be understood that the effort that we now have of helping the judiciary help Kenyans access justice by constructing courts will not be possible. As we speak, about 40 courts have been constructed through the use of CDF, the first of which I am proud was in my constituency in Rarieda. It should be understood that counties cannot help in construction of police stations because police stations, in terms of security, belongs to national government. It should be understood, Madam Speaker, that the idea of solarization of energy that many constituencies have undertaken in schools will not be possible. In terms of fishing, and because I come from a fishing community where we even provide for speedboats and all through the committee, that will not be possible. Madam Speaker, of importance, the history of this bill is that it is founded on the National Dialogue Committee. The National Dialogue Committee, the first phase of which Honorable Murugara and I chaired, and the second phase that was co-chaired by our leader of majority, and Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, expressly recommended the entrenchment of CDF in the Constitution. And to the extent that the NADCO report is a reflection of the wishes of Kenyans, we are merely agents of implementation of those wishes. Madam Speaker, I think that it should be understood, and the report is here, we had public participation, which was immense, which was widespread, and it is encapsulated in this 500-page document by the greatest number of Kenyans who have ever participated. Madam Speaker, I think there's not much more to say on this, except to say that it is in keeping with the wishes of Kenyans. It is in keeping with the doctrines of constitutionalism. It is in keeping with the desire to decentralize power in terms of what we have called imperial powers of the presidency. It is in keeping with the service to our constituents in terms of representation that the national government constituency fund should be entrenched. And we have studiously avoided use of the word development because some people have an issue with the idea of development. We are focusing on decentralization of the funds and the functions. The details of how all these three funds will be implemented will come in subsequent legislation. There can be nothing unconstitutional in terms of entrenching these funds. Madam Speaker, I wish to call upon the Honorable George Murugara to second. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Gigi Murugara.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I stand to second this bill, may I thank the Honorable Otiende Amolo, Senior Counsel, for many things he has done, which are positive as regards the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, which we enjoy today, and especially the fundamental freedoms that we see in the country, including what was being exercised yesterday, although it may have gone overboard from the provisions we have in the Constitution. Honorable Otiende Amolo was actually an expert when we were promulgating the 2010 Constitution. he was innate. It is in his fingertips. And therefore, when he speaks, the Constitution of Kenya speaks. Honorable Otiende Amolo was one of the beneficiaries of the new Constitution 2010, as it brought him to Parliament as a fresher. And again, he was able to be a proponent of the various laws that were to be made under that particular constitution. And most of them have actually been made already. They've been enacted, and they are acts of parliament which we are relying on as part of our law practice. Honorable Speaker, a myriad of cases have faced this House, the National Assembly, the members of Parliament, as regards the National Government Constituency Development Fund as it stands today. We know very well some of those cases are by the detractors of the people and against the will of the people of Kenya. In fact, we have done a public participation regarding this proposal, which again is being moved by Honorable Otiende Amolo. It is likely to be the first successful constitutional amendment in the country after 2010. So Honorable Otiende Amolo again goes into making history that he has amended a document that he actually proposed at that particular time to the benefit of the people of Kenya. If anybody thinks you can go against the CDF as it stands today and what we are intending to entrench in the Constitution, let us go to a referendum and you will see this is going to receive the highest number of positive votes, more than any other person or more than any other proposal. The net effect is this: Kenyans are fully in agreement with what this House is doing, which is to actualize in law, in the good norm of the country, the highest law on the land, that CDF now needs to sit pretty in there against any challenges by detractors, including the so-called Council of Governors. Let us solve this problem once and for all, honorable members. There isn't anything new we are going to say today, apart from speaking even on behalf of the women members of Parliament in this country, in this House, that the Affirmative Action Fund, which we are also entrenching, need not bring you any worries, because there is a provision for national legislation where the money is going to be split, and not any other money, the money belonging to national government. We are not touching the county allocation. We are not touching any other money. It's purely after division of revenue, we go to the part that is going to national government so that these monies are divided as appropriate. The same goes for the Senate Oversight Fund, which even if they have any issues, we would tell them, let us pass this constitutional amendment. If there are any issues, we will be going to that as soon as we have the three funds entrenched in the Constitution. The Gen Zs usually talk about positive vibes, that is, positive attributes regarding a particular subject. As far as CDF is concerned, we have a lot to say, which we would call positive vibes. What has CDF done in this country? And again, we repeat, CDF has nothing to do with individual members of Parliament in this House. CDF is run by an independent board away from us. At the local level, we do have what is known as the CDFC committee, a committee formed by the board itself, brought to this House, approved, and gets to work. This morning, we have just approved certain CDFCs for certain constituencies. Members of Parliament from those constituencies had no role to play, and therefore, nobody, not even our courts, not even the Senate, not even the executive, should ever try to attribute CDF to members of Parliament. As soon as we pass this, let's move to national legislation. It is here that we will determine the percentages of the national government revenue which will go to the three funds. This is going to be fair, it's going to be just, and we will bear in mind the fact that if you want to see development today, look at CDF. I can assure you, we have counties, including my own county, Tharaka Nithi, that will receive not less than 6 billion. But compare the little I get, the little the other two members of parliament get, and you will see that we outshine the county government in spite of the small amounts of money, which do not exceed anything that more than 450 million for the three constituencies. While the county is getting over 6 billion, which is supposed to develop such a small county into what it should be. So, honorable members, I urge you to support this bill. Let us debate it soberly. Let us inform Kenyans what we are doing. And in any event, I am sure Kenyans are watching and they are in full agreement with us that what we are doing here is actually what they want us to do, what they want to see, so that we can have, especially the rural constituencies, which do not have a lot to talk about. This is the only money that is visible down in the rural constituencies. This is the only money that goes to save poor children who are in school. They do not have any means of paying school fees, but here is money from the government that goes into assisting them. And many, many other things we have done. Let it be bursaries, let it be classrooms, let it be chief's offices, security police posts. We have done all these so that Kenyans can enjoy services closer to them. I agree with Honorable Otiende Amolo. We have even gone on to build courts so that we can bring judicial services closer to the people. All this is not done by members of parliament. We are only oversights. Our work is to oversight what happens. It is an entity known as the Constituency Development Fund Committee that does everything. Ours is to oversight, is to ensure that the monies are actually spent as budgeted. With those very many remarks, allow me, Madam Speaker, to beg and second this particular bill. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2025, be read a second time. Honorable Rindikiri Mugambi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support this bill, and I want to congratulate the mover for articulating the issues of law surrounding this bill. Madam Speaker, if there is any activity that is close to the people, that binds the government and the people together, is CDF. The Gov, binding our dear women folk in this country because of what our women lives are doing in this country with that fund. Madam Speaker, we know for sure the senators are very keen to enhance their oversight responsibilities at the county. I therefore stand to support this bill because by so doing, we will be acknowledging what the Kenyan public did during the public participation. Madam Speaker, during the public participation, in Bori constituency, for example, where I come from and I represent, there were only 2 people who opposed the enactment of these amendments. Why? 2 of them were activists who did not understand the difference between decentralized funds and the devolution. And I want to thank Honorable Otiende Amolo for setting the record straight, and I'm sure I'm going to give the answer to those 2 specific people. Madam Speaker, CDF has performed since inception marvelously very well. Madam Speaker, we are beneficiaries of the CDF in this House as members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, through CDF, the families that were not able or are not able to educate their children, they have survived through CDF. Madam Speaker, this is the best managed fund as far as I understand. Madam Speaker, CDF is run by a committee, and each project is run by a project management committee who are representatives of the people. So the members of Parliament are not there. We only go to oversight. But we are also members of the public in our own light. And therefore, we are very keen to see that it becomes successful. Madam Speaker, the Public Works is always investigating how these projects are being implemented, whether they are quality projects or not. Madam Speaker, this is the fund that is audited by two arms, internally and also externally. And these reports are brought to this out, Madam Speaker. So this is a well-structured fund, and Kenyans are saying, please, let's enact it in the Constitution so that they are sure, because any other money they are not very sure of. Kenyans are very sure of GAF, they are very sure of national CDF. And just like the mover has said, we are not using the devolved funds. This money is being appropriated here, and is being monitored from here, and is being evaluated from here. So, Madam Speaker, it is very long for anybody to oppose the amendment, because if we drop this, for whatever reason, which I don't think whether it is going to be dropped, is going to pass anonymously, we are giving Kenyans an opportunity to enjoy the national government services. And that's the bottom line, in whatever we do, in whatever we say. The people of Bole are very clear. They have sent me with a message that even if it is a referendum, they will participate and they will pass the bill, the amendments. And I want to believe the other members equally have been sent with the same message. So, Madam Speaker, without wasting a lot of time, I stand to support this amendment, and I have now on record that I've delivered the message of the great people of Bori to this Parliament that the national CDF should be enacted fully as per the proposed amendment. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Adan Kainan, member for Eldas.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, from the onset, allow me to thank the Honorable Engineer Muriuki Karue, the father of CDF, for having reflected on the dynamics of the Kenyan politics, both after immediately after independence, after the advent of multipartyism, and before the promulgation of the current constitution. Madam Speaker, for those of us who are in Parliament, at that particular time when the government used to be here, there were three things that used to dominate the flow of the House. A member of the back bench will ask a question to a senior minister on a development project in his constituency. And the answer used to be, these projects will be funded when funds are available. And I want you to note, when funds are available. That is the first thing that motivated Engineer Karue. Remember that particular time also, our politics, as usual, was tribal, regional, and with all its characteristics. And meaning, therefore, when you are on the other side of the government, development was highly politicized. And therefore, the Honorable Engineer Karue decided to politicize development in its entirety. That's why he brought CDF. And greatly, I'm privileged to have represented two constituencies, the larger Wajir West and the last constituency. But before even I go that, the third component that characterized the 8th Parliament and before was also Parliament was an appendage of the executive. So we had three things, and I want to tell colleagues who are new to the House. Remove the Parliament from the ambit of the executive, bring it to within the domain of members of Parliament themselves. We succeeded in forming PSC. That was the first attempt. The second attempt was to erase that phrase of funds. These projects will be done when funds are available. We brought that aspect to the members themselves through NCDF. And the third thing, Madam Speaker, was to set ourselves, the truth shall set us free, to allow ourselves, members of Parliament who have been demeaned at that particular time. You know the history? Every Thursday, members used to congregate somewhere, and you know the corners. That has also been removed. I want to tell you today, this is your time, and I want to thank also the Honorable Otene Amolo, the Honorable Chepkonga, and all the other great brains who have persistently pushed for this constitutional amendment. Madam Speaker, every parliament has its own history. You know it, you have been around now, this is your third term. The history of this parliament will be judged by the passage of this constitutional amendment. If we don't pass this, and I will tell you, Madam Speaker, there are caucuses who have contributed hundreds of millions to fight these amendments. And I want members to hear this. There are caucuses that have contributed tens of millions to fight four things. To fight equalization, they have succeeded. Equalization is no more. And even those of us who fought for the inclusion of that particular clause today, we are ashamed. 12, 13 years after the promulgation of the current constitution, there is nothing tangible that we can say is a product of equalization in our regions. The second bit, Madam Speaker, out of ignorance, they have decided to fight NCDF. And I'm glad that Honorable Amolo has alluded to this. I want to ask them wherever they are. NCDF is not going to get even a fraction of the devolved funds. It's going to get, the allocation is already provided, the formula is already provided for. The third thing that they have done, they are against the empowerment of our county MPs, the NGAF. What is more important than empowering our county MPs? They represent consensus, and the framers of the current constitution were not fools to have special seats for our ladies. Those who are fighting the enactment of this are, remember, they are fighting the majority of the Kenyan voters who are the women. The third thing, Madam Speaker, is to create an illegal niche for one of the houses. That doesn't, it will only come. I am a fervent supporter of the Senate. But we must also support and believe in the constitutional role of each of the houses. We shall not allow anybody to demean the role of the National Assembly, just like we will not allow anybody to demean the role of the Senate. That is constitutionally enshrined. Madam Speaker, the other piece that we must also understand is why did we move, in the governance history of this country, we have had different stages of attempting to decentralize development. When you decentralize development, Madam Speaker, there are a number of things that come to the fore. One, we have political decentralization. We also have administrative decentralization. We have the DOs and this. In the politics, we also have the counties. But we have economic decentralization, Madam Speaker. And this is one area that also CDF also comes in. And what is the essence of this, Madam Speaker? Is to do away with something called disintermediation. Meaning, therefore, the different layers, and you can see the level of corruption, the level of incompetence, the level of bureaucracies, to remove that intermediation, Mr. Speaker, so that the CDF funds go direct from the national coffers to the constituency. And that spurs development, that brings about equity, that brings about development. And I want to ask you members, can you imagine, just reflect on your constituency, and I will tell you this. I was a young member of parliament when I was first elected, on an opposition ticket during the Kanu time. My constituency then, Wajir West, didn't have even a single secondary school, Madam Speaker. It took me almost a year through Harambes to come up with a first secondary school. But since then, you can see it's obvious. Through CDF, you get the same development. I want to ask you, and I want this to go also on record, those members of the current National Assembly who will not be available for the passage of this constitutional bill, as the father of this house, I shall take the trouble of naming you and shaming you as people who are not pro their constituency development. We want you to cancel all your assignments wherever you are. Come and vote for this critical motion that will continue to empower the local people. Madam Speaker, I want to say this. CDF or NCDF remains the most popular development agenda in our country. And that has clearly been demonstrated by the public participation. Who is anybody else to fight NCDF? It is our time now, as the Honorable Omolo has rightly put it, to put this in perspective so that these obvious litigants, Madam Speaker, and it's their right to go to court, will also appreciate that the legislative powers of the people of Kenya rest with Parliament, the National Assembly. And this must also be supported, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the other thing, there are people who are trying to equate. There's a policy called the pork barrel policy in America, in the Congress. Ignorant people who do not understand the legislative history of Congress have equated NCDF to pork barrel policy in Congress. No, I want to tell them and I want to educate them. The pork barrel policy came up as a result of the end of the Second World War, Madam Speaker. It's one of the tools the congressional great minds have used to allow the member, a congressional person, leader, to have certain oversight funds at their disposal, not managed by the congressional leader, but managed by that office to deal with certain emerging pertinent issues in that particular congressional district. But CDF is completely different. CDF is not managed by the Member of Parliament. The Member of Parliament remains just the MP for the constituency. But this is managed by an entity, a legal entity called the National CDF Board, through their own structures. Where does the Member of Parliament come in? And therefore, there's no correlation, there's no semblance between pork barrel policy in Congress and NCDF. And those who want to equate this are ignorant of the history of Congress, are ignorant of the history of NCDF, and also have not applied their minds to the true intention of NCDF, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the other bit that we must also understand is that we are politicians. I am a politician in every aspect. I think politics, I sense politics, I reflect on politics, Madam Speaker, and I act politically. Nobody shall intimidate you. If you are allowed to be intimidated, then you are in the wrong field. Can you go back to your farm and become a farmer? If you have opted to be in this field, make sure you stand for the right of your voters. And that is the only thing that when time comes, you either exit or you decide to do other things, you will be remembered by your conscience that this is what you have contributed. Madam Speaker, finally, I represent a constituency called, and you know if you have been around, called Eldas. It's almost, it was created at the same time when also devolution came in. I want to challenge the role, the critical contribution NCDF has made to my constituency Eldas and what the devolved funds have done. And when you put the same on a scale, you will give NCDF 99.9% and you will give the role of the devolved funds 1%. Can that be substituted? The answer is no. I stand here to support this critical amendment and urge you, wherever you are, come out from your cocoons, support this amendment this afternoon so that tomorrow it goes to the president,
Very well. Honorable Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also stand to support this particular amendments, which includes Section 204, Part A, B, and C, that seek to entrench the National Government Constituency Fund, the Senate Oversight Fund, and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund into the Constitution. And Honorable Speaker, I do this because, one, I have witnessed what CDF has been able to do for our people. I have witnessed what CDF has been able to do even in the security space in terms of improving the police stations. And I've also seen, Honorable Speaker, what it has been able to do in terms of improving the infrastructure of our schools and also access to bursaries for our students. Honorable Speaker, I have also had the privilege of visiting some of our women representatives when they are launching and giving projects and equipment to support women, to support persons with disability, to support the old people, and even to support the youth. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, This is one very important entrenchment into our constitution that I feel that we should all support. And if we saw what happened with the public participation and even the report from the committee, it received a lot of overwhelming support from the people of this country. Honorable Speaker, CDF projects are some of the projects that are very visible, over and above any other project. Not even the county government projects have been able to have this a similar visibility as what CDF has had. And Honorable Speaker, it is very important for us to also just let the country know, because there is this assumption that CDF is money that goes into the purse of a member of parliament. That is not the case. What members of parliament do, and it is the role that we have in this constitution, is that we oversight, represent, and legislate. And when we go back to our constituencies, even I, who is a nominated member of parliament, I have a right to go and see what CDF has been able to do. And that is what the members of parliament have been able to do. They do not have direct access to CDF. And this needs to come out very clearly. Honorable Speaker, it is also very important to put it out there, and the mover of the bill did mention this, that even if this money that is actually gotten from monies appropriated from the government share of revenue as divided by the Annual Division of Revenue Act of Article 218, it is very important to note that even if this money is not allocated to CDF or to NGAF or to the oversight fund for the senators, it is not going to go to any other place. This money will not help any other person. So it's very important for all of us to support that aspect again. And Honorable Speaker, I also just want to say this, because for our senators who are going to receive this oversight fund, this is really going to assist them, because it's going to be a structured fund for them to be able to do their oversight activities, for them to be able to go to the different counties that they represent and ensure that county government monies are actually spent in the correct way. So this is important for them in that aspect. And Honorable Speaker, has been said, we do have the seats of the women representatives entrenched in the Constitution. It doesn't make sense to have women representatives in place and they do not have any funds to enable them to be able to perform any of the roles that are included for them under the Constitution. Because, Honorable Speaker, these very vulnerable and affirmative action groups, I'm talking about the women, the persons with disability, and the youth, if we are not able to ensure that they do have allocations to projects that can be able to assist them, then nobody will be able to be. Honorable Speaker, just the other day we were visiting Migori County, and I saw folks were being given tents and chairs. They were being given hairdressing equipment, machines, even posho mills. You know, Honorable Speaker, these are things that are really helping people to be able to even generate income for themselves. Because we do not want to be legislators who are giving the community fish to eat. We want to be able to enable our communities to be able to fish for themselves before they eat. That way, we are actually developing the nation in the right direction. So, Honorable Speaker, so that I may allow other colleagues to also speak to this, I just want to really encourage and just speak to the whole country to really support the entrenchment of this in the Constitution and to fellow members as well, so that we do not have continuance and constant issues where we keep having people going to court to try and stop these very noble funds to take effect. So that we do have a seamless process where they are able to do what it is they're supposed to do. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support and I submit. Thank you.
Honorable Wachira Karani.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute towards this bill. The Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2025 by the Honorable Dr. Atiende Amoro, Senior Counsel, and Honorable Samuel Chepkonga to entrench it in the Constitution. I want to start by saying I support wholly and thank them for thinking of this noble idea. Where I come from, Madam Speaker, in Laikipia, in the past we used to be attacked by bandits from our neighbors, so much that the area people were even contemplating moving out of the place. But through CDF, NGCDF, the transformation that has been done, police posts, police stations have been built. In the past, we used to have our chiefs working from their homes. They didn't have offices. Since CDF came, a lot of transformation has been done, and we are very, very, very grateful. Our chiefs and assistant chiefs are now operating in very, very hygienic environment. And the place has become very, very habitable. On the side of education, there is a lot of transformation in education. Madam Speaker, right now the CDF Laikipia West is sponsoring 492 students across the constituency in day schools who never used to go to school. We go visit villages. We are presented by the villagers a case of a child who has been in home since the exam results were out and was admitted to secondary school, but the child cannot join the school because they do not have money. The CDF has helped such students, and they are now in school, and we are very, very happy. On infrastructure, Madam Speaker, there is a lot of transformation in our constituency, and I believe it is across the country. When we went for public participation, there was a very, very big turnout in my constituency. The big turnout is because people are happy on what the CDF has been doing, and I'm very, very, very grateful. Madam Speaker, on the other fund, the Senate Oversight Fund, I want to say in our counties, the counties have been receiving a lot of money. But then the senators who are supposed to oversight them have been having constraints. Like in my county, it's a very vast county. It has 3 constituencies, but it's very vast. To move from one corner to the other to inspect the projects that are being implemented by the county government is a big, big deal. So with this oversight, it will enable the senator for Laikipia, and indeed all the other senators, to travel across their counties and oversight the fund. Without those few remarks, I support.
Majority Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, also rise to support this bill by the Honorable Chepkonga and the Honorable Dr. Otienda Molo on the constitutional amendment bill that seeks to entrench the NGCDF and GAF and also the Senate Oversight Fund in the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, this country has come of age. And over the years, those who are before us in this house know where exactly this country has come from as far as getting funds to the common mwananchi comes from. In as much as, Honorable Speaker, that we have 2 units of governance, the devolved unit and the national government, even as we continue seeking that funds go through, are channeled through the county governments or through the devolved units, there are other elements that are left within the national government structure that are very critical to people in all the villages and all constituencies. And with a well-controlled system, the impact will be felt in the villages and in the constituencies in factors or in matters that are left on the national government. That is the security, the education, and other matters, Honorable Speaker. And that is why it's quite unfortunate that people have a misconception that CDF or NGCDF is a fund that is managed by members of parliament. Far from it. Even as it is currently, Honorable Speaker, members of parliament have 0 role as far as sharing of NGCDF or, the way NGCDF operates, Honorable Speaker. I mean, that is why it's called National Government Constituency Development Fund. It is a preserve for the national government.
with an autonomous structure of governance. We have the NGCDF board that does the approvals. We have the constituency fund managers that are employed by the national government constituency development fund. Then we have the committees, in the constituencies that, of course, now collect views from the common mwananchi. And the role of members of parliament, Honorable Speaker, is very limited. It's actually to oversight, as provided for under Article 95. There is nothing else that we do. What the members of parliament do when they visit constituencies on the NGCDF project is simply to exercise their role and responsibility to oversight and see whether this national government fund is actually doing what it ought to be. It's doing what the committee proposed to the NGCDF board. But people have this misconception, Honorable Speaker, that the members of parliament sit somewhere and they go to their accounts and they draw their funds, they decide on what to do, and they keep some changes. In fact, I keep challenging people any time I engage them that if there is a fund that you really cannot steal, it is actually in this house that I say that we need to replicate the system that NGCDF has or operates under to even the county government. Because this money, Honorable Speaker, leaves the board, goes to the constituencies with a vote, a specific vote, that on this particular percentage, it's going for the bursaries. This particular percentage is for education. This percentage is for this and this. We have no role whatsoever. But people think and imagine that we wake up one morning, a member of parliament wakes up one morning and decides that today I want to draw 1 million shillings from the NGCDF account. How? It is not possible. It is not practical. You cannot do that. What we do is to oversight. And what we are proposing here, Honorable Speaker, it is to have these funds now entrenched in the Constitution so that the people can feel it. Honorable Speaker, when you compare, and I've always said this, when you compare resources, when you compare the resources that are sent from the national government or through the devolved units and the NGCDF, you will realize, Honorable Speaker, that when you pass through the constituencies, every project done by NGCDF is visible. You see it. You see it. You can actually count and say, it has bought this school bus. It has done this. Some students have gone to school. Some people have, we have now police stations. We have, in fact, Honorable Speaker, some even do, like I saw Nairobi, Honorable Speaker, my former colleague, a member of this house, who left this house in the last regime, Honorable Speaker, was actually doing even swimming pools in Nairobi schools. And students have competed and even gone international through the swimming classes that they learned because the structures have been built. So, Honorable Speaker, this is the fund that is felt by the common mwananchi. When you compare every devolved fund, every fund that has left the national government, you will realize that this fund, Honorable Speaker, is so visible. And that is why some people, some very weird quarters, Honorable Speaker, are viciously fighting that this fund does not get to the common mwananchi because they know that when it gets to the common mwananchi, they'll have no grasp. They'll have no ground to stand against, because people tend to fight for, they tend to oppress or suppress people so that they can be able to use them for their own ulterior motives, Honorable Speaker. But when this fund goes to the public, Honorable Speaker, it helps a lot. It elevates education. It's felt by the common mwananchi. And, Honorable Speaker, I am a living example, personally, of this fund, the NGCDF. When it was first introduced in this house, Honorable Speaker, I was in Form 1. I was in Form 1, Honorable Speaker. And the Honorable Mingo Magara paid my school fees, Honorable Speaker, through this NGCDF. That time the fees was about 3,000. And when I saw my name on the notice board, Honorable Speaker, I was very happy. Because I had dropped out of school. I had no money. I had started, Honorable Speaker, doing menial jobs in the villages. I had nowhere to sleep. I had nowhere to spend. So I really wanted to be in boarding school, Honorable Speaker, because there was no place I could live and, so that because I had nobody to cook for me. I had nobody to live with. And the Honorable Mingo Magara, Honorable Speaker, that time as a member of parliament, then it was not under the NGCDF board. It was quite a bit direct. Paid my school fees, Honorable Speaker, through this fund, NGCDF. Although it has, over the years, it has, been repealed now to what it is today. This is the time that this house needs to stand firm and support this particular bill so that this fund is felt, Honorable Speaker, in the Constitution. Then there is also the NGAF fund, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, women play a critical role in the societies. When you move around the counties, Honorable Speaker, you will actually see, in as much as the resources they get are meager, at about 6 million per county, or 8 per constituency, 42 million per county, or 50 or 60 million, you will see, we've seen water tanks, we've seen bursaries. They try to balance these resources and exploit them properly, and it's felt, it's quite visible compared to what we send in billions to the county government, Mr. Speaker. If there is a fund, again, that we must support, that it should be raised even higher, it is the NGAF fund, even as we entrench it in the Constitution. So that you see it, it's practical. Mr. Speaker, we have water challenges all over in the country. We are not able to tap on natural, water that through the rains. But these ladies, the ladies that patronize these amounts, Mr. Speaker, have been able to give tanks across the schools. Kids are not now being sent to, they're not being sent to the rivers, Mr. Speaker, for matters to fetch waters through the rivers and everything, because we are taking advantage of the rainwater, Mr. Speaker. So if there is another section of fund that we really must support, is the NGAF, that our gracious ladies have been patronizing over the years, Mr. Speaker. And finally, Mr. Speaker, when we talk about the oversight, the reason why the oversight, the Senate looks crippled, is because they are really not well resourced. You call governors who control billions of money to reprimand them, they look at you as paupers, and because you have nothing. Even going to the counties, Honorable Speaker, to see what the funds, the devolved funds are doing, is a challenge to the senators. They struggle to get to the counties. There is no special budget for that to go to the counties so that they can be able to see. The other day I saw senators, Honorable Speaker, in one of the counties when they visited some hospital, Honorable Speaker, and they really displayed quite disturbing images of patients sleeping, sharing beds, 3 patients, women sharing beds, Honorable Speaker, maternity wing. It's a very sad situation. We need to empower the senators. We need to give them the oversight fund so that when they see these things, Honorable Speaker, they can be able to work on it. So with those very, very remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to support and urge members to appear in the afternoon in large numbers and vote for this particular bill so that we can be able to see a meaningful development in our society. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Dr. James Nyikal, member for Seme.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, this bill seeks to entrench in the Constitution the National Government Constituency Development Fund, the NGAF, and also Senate oversight. Madam Speaker, this CDF has done what has not been done by many, many other funds. But those who have been going to court on and off against this fund and the other decentralized funds, the argument is that this is actually against the devolution. But they should remember that the CDF is part of the national component of the revenue, so that when we are sharing, even if it was to be abolished, it would not go to the counties. It would still be part of the national government fund that will be used in the national government. Madam Speaker, people have talked about separation of powers. The role of MP, as we know, is representation, legislation, and oversight. But if you look at what the MP's role in CDF, even the MP's role of the Senate, it will be purely oversight. That is what MPs do. CDF itself has a clear structure where there's no participation by the MP, by the constituency MP at all. It has the national board, which is just representation like all other boards. And we vet the chair here, just like we vet the chairs for all other boards and all other sagas in the national government. So that is still part of our job as legislation. It has a constituency committee, and we really don't take part in the constituency committee at all in structural way. We may try like anybody else to see who gets there, but it's still in the hands of the deputy county commissioner. People apply if they're going to be members of that committee. The deputy county commissioner actually chairs the meeting, and then the people are picked. The member of parliament has no role at all. Madam Speaker, when you go to the project management committee, the PMC, in fact, that may be the reason why CDF is in particular, it's very, very popular. Because once the money gets to the constituency, the money coming to the constituency, it comes clearly what it is going to do, what vote is going to do. Earlier before that, of course, there is public participation where people decide what they really want to be done in their areas. And once that decision is made, the money that comes from the board comes directly for that. And when you go to the project management committee, the project management committee is actually purely the people, the constituents themselves. They are managing it, and this is one of the strengths of this fund. Madam Speaker, the truth is, the MP has no role. In fact, if the deputy county commissioner, who is also part of this, if the manager, the chairman of the constituency committee of CDF and the fund manager decide that you won't even know what they are doing, what role as an MP would you have? None at all. And actually, the truth is, this fund can run without the member of parliament there. So in that context, I don't see the issue that people have with it. And if you look, people say, oh, some people have claimed this is just pocket money for the members of parliament. How does this money even get in your hands? Once the money is gone to the project management committee, before the payment is made, members of the committee, and if it is a school, for example, and the head of the school is a secretary or chair of that committee, they are actually signatory. The MP is not a signatory anywhere at all. So I don't see why it is claimed that this is really money for the MPs. But why is it fund popular, Madam Speaker? One is access. There is no single fund that I've seen that actually the people have access to as much as a CDF. Madam Speaker, once there is a problem, maybe a school dormitory is banned or something, the members of the community will see the chair of the committee. They will sit. The MP has no role there at all. And once they sit and they decide, if you use the emergency component of this fund, the work will be done immediately. Which other fund I can ask, Madam Speaker, people will have direct access to like that. And when the work is going on, the people actually oversight the job. We know many people come to us, Mheshimiwa, this work is going on, we don't like the way it is going on. And you just have to go, and that is part of oversight. You just go and see what is happening. That is oversight. So, Madam Speaker, we oversight other things. We have security. If a member of parliament actually meets with the sub-county security committee and needs to know what is happening, that is oversight. That is exactly how we relate with the the NGCDF. If there is a program going on in education, even when exams are being done, members of parliament get involved on this. So, Madam Speaker, I do not see how this thing actually we can be accused, MPs can be accused of owning, using as they wish the NCDF money. If you look at the Senate oversight of the Senate Oversight Fund, I actually sympathize with the senators. They have a huge area, as well as the women represented. They have a huge area which they have to oversight. Now, you cannot come to this parliament as a woman representative or go to the Senate as a senator and start legislating, and you have no opportunity, no ability to go to the constituency and find out what exactly is happening. How will they work? So if we actually give, the senator and the woman representative have money, this is what they need. Because otherwise, it will just be a talk shop for them. They have to go and see what is happening. So with that, Madam Speaker, I think this fund and the other decentralized funds have actually been wrongly accused. MPs have been wrongly accused of misusing these funds. So, Madam Speaker, in my view, if the people have found that this is a fund that is useful to them, and the only argument I've had consistently is that it's unconstitutional. What do we make constitutions for? We make constitutions to guide our lives in a way that we find most useful and productive to us. Now, if we find a structure that is actually very efficient, even the overhead costs in CDF is actually the lowest. Why then can't we change the constitution so that we find something that works and that people that are popular with the people to be constitutional? So with that, Madam Speaker, I support this constitutional amendment.
Honorable Jane Kagiri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to support this amendment. Honorable Speaker, as I support this amendment, it takes me back to when I was a young girl. And Honorable Speaker, I was very excited and wanted to go to a boarding secondary school. Unfortunately, in Laikipia County, in those years, we did not have a girls' secondary school that was boarding. So my parents had to take me to another county to study for my secondary education. Years later, I kept wondering what had caused us not to have schools in our area. Honorable Speaker, if you look at a county like Laikipia, we had been neglected for very many years, and we are one of those counties that seek for equalization because of historical injustices. Honorable Speaker, years later, CDF was introduced. Today, I can call CDF the equalizer in this country, because based on the efforts of the members of parliament who have been elected in Laikipia, today we can pride ourselves for having boarding schools in our county, both for the boys and girls. Honorable Speaker, secondly, I would want to say many of our needy students have managed to get an education thanks to the bursaries given by our MPs in our counties and constituencies. Today, Honorable Speaker, I can still say Laikipia County is at 70% with semi-permanent structures in our schools. When we seek for more funding for CDF, I believe this is what is going to eliminate these semi-permanent structures in our schools, and it's also going to give an equal opportunity to students in Laikipia County to get an education just like students in other counties. Honorable Speaker, secondly, as I support this amendment, I would want to speak about the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, and I happen to be the chairperson of the 47 county MPs. Honorable Speaker, allow me to take this House through some statistics of last year. Last year, NGAF supported 50,000 students in this country through bursaries. 50,000 may look like a small number, but I would want us to picture 50,000 children getting an opportunity in this country. That is almost a whole constituency of people. Honorable Speaker, my question becomes, what if we had more funding to the National Government Affirmative Action Fund? I believe we'd be speaking of hundreds of thousands of students whom we have given an opportunity. In my own county of Laikipia last year, I managed to send 430 students for TVET training. And again, another 362 for catering classes. Today, I look back and think, these are students I have given a fishing line that rather than giving them a fish which they are going to keep coming back to. Honorable Speaker, these are opportunities that create empowerment for our people and give an opportunity to our young people. Honorable Speaker, speaking of last year again, we had around 3,000 groups supported through the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Honorable Speaker, this may look again like a small number, but picture women, youth, persons with disability who have a source of income every day thanks to the funding that this National Government Affirmative Action Fund is giving them. Honorable Speaker, we are able to empower people with trolleys, we're able to empower them with shaving kits, we're able to empower people with tools of trade that can give them success in their businesses. Honorable Speaker, my final example would be last week when I was in Nanyuki. I managed to give my labor group that sits in Nanyuki town a concrete mixer. Honorable Speaker, my thought is that from that, these people will empower themselves, they will grow. In the future, they'll be the owners of buildings in that town. Honorable Speaker, I believe as women reps, we also want to ensure clean drinking water for our people. Unfortunately, again, our funding is too little to ensure that every school has a water tank, to ensure every administration institution has water tanks, so that when our people go to be served, they can be served with clean water and resources that will ensure they continue living in better conducive conditions. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, based on the Education Act, we are only allowed to issue sanitary towels to our students in basic education. But Honorable Speaker, you and I know the secondary students are the ones who are even more in need of sanitary towels. Again, our resources cannot cover all these students. That is the basic education as well as the secondary students. Again, Honorable Speaker, with an increased allocation for the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, we are going to be able to give more of our children sanitary towels and to ensure our girls remain in schools as they are supposed to remain in schools. Finally, Honorable Speaker, we are not just seeking for an increment. We are seeking for a consideration of a percentage of the national revenue. So as we progress on this amendment, we as the women representatives are seeking for 2.5% consideration of the national revenue as an allocation to NGAF, which is going to ensure that we support our women, our youth, and our persons with disability. Honorable Speaker, I support and I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Member for Kitui Central, Dr. Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in supporting this constitutional amendment. But before I get to the details of the bill, let me appreciate the movers of the bill, Honorable Dr. Uchenda Moro and Honorable Chepkon. Honorable Speaker, I want just to provide some statements of fact so that those who are following us in terms of this debate know what we are discussing. Honorable Speaker, this bill, if you look at it, proposes introduction of three funds. That is the National Constituency, National Government Constituency Fund, the Senate Fund, and the GAF. Honorable Speaker, in terms of sharing resources in this country, we have two levels of government. We have the national government and we have the county governments. And what determines how much money goes to each of the two levels, Honorable Speaker, is what we call the Division of Revenue Bill, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, in the Division of Revenue Bill, we only say how much goes to the national government and how much goes to the county governments. Now, after determining how much goes to the county government and how much goes to the national government, is when now we'll be introducing these funds. So those who are saying that this money, if not given to the NGCDF, the Senate Fund, and GAV, can find their way into the county government, are cheating themselves. So the truth of the matter is, even if this money is not given to these three different funds, it will not go to the county governments. The only way it will be able to go to the county governments is through what we call conditional grants, meaning that the national government will have to pick part of their share and give to the counties in form of conditional grant. Otherwise, there will be sure that there is equity in the distribution of resources. What do I mean when I talk about equity? These are the only funds where we are sure that at the end of the day, each constituency each county will get this money from the national resources without caring who they vote for. So it ensures equity, and equity is an issue we have all been fighting for, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to resource sharing in this country. So through these funds, we are saying we'll have a mechanism or a strategy to ensure that every part of this country will access resources, public resources. The other point, which is critical, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of CDF being a development model, Honorable Speaker. The truth of the matter, Honorable Speaker, is that if we were to assess the models we are using to deliver development into this country, from more parts of this country, CDF is the best model. And that has been proved beyond any reasonable doubt, Honorable Speaker. So the question I ask myself is, if you are genuine Kenyan really, why would you not want Kenyans to benefit from this development model, which has been assessed to be the best? Best in terms of it has minimal recurrent expenditure, it has the highest development expenditure, and that means we are growing our economy. Honorable Speaker, the other point is this. If you look at the impact of this fund called NGCDF to Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, I want to tell you, in my constituency, I didn't mobilize anybody to go and say yes or no. But the numbers were overwhelming. People on their own choice decided to go out there and make sure that they say NGCDF must stay, because it has had the highest impact to our people in terms of educational, infrastructural development, in terms of bursaries to our students, and more so the needy students. And I want to specifically single out orphans in this country. Honorable Speaker, at the same time, this program called NGCDF has also assisted our security sector in providing the infrastructure for our security officers. So, if you look at the issue of highest impact in terms of positive impact to the Kenyans, this fund emerges as tops. And it's on the basis of that, Honorable Speaker, we are saying any right-thinking Kenyan should be able to supporting enrichment of this fund in the Constitution, because it will help more people in the country and improve the lives of our people. The other point, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of public participation. The current act, the current NGCDF Act, Honorable Speaker, says every 2 years you conduct public participation so that you are able to identify which programs and projects should be funded to benefit our people. So, matters public participation is required in our Constitution, Honorable Speaker. I also adequately catered for in these funds that our people are able to come up there and say this is what we want to do, and on the basis of that, you have targeted development, meaning you are funding what the people are saying is their priority number one in whichever location they are in. And that is on that basis, Honorable Speaker, that I support this sure by 2:30 we are all full house, so that we support this important 3 funds. And by that time, Honorable Speaker, then we'll be helping this country. With this many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you so much.
Very well. Honorable members, I see there is a lot of interest. Though we have 10 minutes per member, if we can try and shorten it, more people will speak. We cannot do that by the standing orders. It has to be personal conviction to take short time. Member for Kitutu Masaba, Honorable Gisairo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Firstly, let me start by congratulating and thanking Honorable Tiende Amolo and Samuel Chepkonga for bringing this bill to this House. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution of 2010 had very good intentions on devolution. However, it didn't foresee a point where we are going to create 47 demigods. People who control funds, but funds that does not reflect in the lives of the people. Honorable Speaker, the 47 demigods know that they cannot be summoned by this House. But they know they can be summoned by a Senate which has little or no say on the direction of whatever they do. The senators are not even able to know what actual projects are taking place in their counties. To a point, members of parliament are called by the constituents to complain about dysfunctional services in the counties, matters that should be handled by senators. It is in that spirit, Honorable Speaker, that we feel that the senators should get the Senate Oversight Fund. This will allow them to walk the streets of their counties, visit dispensaries and hospitals in their counties, visit primary schools with ECD classes to confirm whether those infrastructures are being done and done in the right way. As a House, we therefore have to support this provision to ensure that senators are well and properly resourced to oversight our 47 demigods. Honorable Speaker, resources will never be enough. We cannot reach everyone individually. And that is the spirit of having the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, to allow the women reps to identify and support vulnerable cases within our communities. The NGAF has done a commendable job. In my county, I've seen women groups, young people's groups being empowered to get their lives together. We've seen girls getting sanitary towels, things that we see that are basic, but millions and millions of our Kenyan youth cannot afford. Their parents are not able. NGAF should not only be entrenched here, but the amount should at least be doubled to enable the vulnerable in the community be taken care of in the right manner. Honorable Speaker, many members have said here that members of Parliament are not party to NGCDF. Honorable Speaker, we are elected to perform 3 key roles: oversight, legislate, and represent. Honorable Speaker, we have a hand in the NGCDF by virtue of representation. The 350,000 people of Kitutu Masaba will not face the fund manager, all of them at once. And that's why they've elected me as their leader to listen to them and represent them in different forums. I therefore play my role to represent them. They have a vision, but they cannot present that vision, the 350,000 of them. You therefore, as the Member of Parliament, you are the vision carrier for your people. We will therefore continue playing our role of representing our people to the board and to the CDFCs. Honorable Speaker, if there is a fund that is properly structured, I sit in the select committee of CDF. It is this fund. Money goes to the board. The board sends the money to the constituency CDFC's main account. From there, the money does not go to the contractor. It goes to the project management committee account, which has a representation of the local community where the project is going to be done. Those members of that community are the signatories. Honorable Speaker, this is the fund that touches the poor. It is the fund that speaks the language of the poor. Today, while we talk here, we are not talking as members of Parliament. We are carrying the voices of the millions of the people we represent. Honorable Speaker, we will not allow that this country goes to a point where the Member of Parliament of Kitutu Masaba, who is elected on the opposition side, cannot be able to get classrooms for the children of Kitutu Masaba. We are not going to go back where we begged certain institutions